Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing well. I did have my face a little better on here, but maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. The light's goofy in my room right now. Not too bad, I guess. This morning I was reading an article about farm raised um, catfish and how 370 some million pounds of it are processed in the United States each year, and how the scientists at Alabama State University are genetically breeding a type of catfish crossed with alligator genes because if the catfish get hurt in the pond, it cuts down on the infection for the fish within that environment. So the with the alligator genes in there. So I'm kind of glad I don't like catfish. So, but anyway, I just thought I'd let you know on some of the gene manipulation that they're doing with people's food more and more. And they say you are what you eat. Well, I don't know that I actually would even want to eat an alligator. I don't know. So I thought I'd just let you know about that study. So, yeah, not a whole lot going on here today. I'm rolling some cigarettes while I talk to you. I thought I'd just um, say hi, or at least I'm trying to roll one. Oops, I dropped it. Excuse me a minute. Okay. That didn't turn out so good. I think I had it packed in there a little too tightly. So yeah, I stayed up late. Watching a movie after a half of a movie I had left after I was on a live stream over on Seven Spalding. That was really interesting because a lot of people are feeling kind of like discombobulated or disheveled, or I guess the word would be like out of sorts, feeling all the energetic things that are going on in the world. So, just to kind of ball it all in brief, he was talking about how he feels that on a daily basis and is in touch with how the earth feels and what it feels like to him. That was pretty interesting. It was fun. It was relaxing. Then this After I read that article, I had went on what the Flock TV had a pretty good live stream about the key um, in the Bible and what breaking down the word key and what his findings were within that area. And I did share that in my community. It's over there if you're interested. And I would say it probably might be something that if you're into theology at all, um, you might want to investigate that. So, and then I'm right now listening to it's probably over now because I had to go do some stuff, but going live with a surprise, we're breaking pattern archaics. Jason of Archaics had Matt on there, and he's talking about diet. And at the end of it, you can ask questions. And he was talking about water and the difference between distilled water and like spring water or whatever, or like well water, like what I've got. doesn't have anybody's anything in it. It's got natural minerals, but it's not anything harmful. You know, uh, well, it's one of the purest waters you can get. It's out of the ground. If you're in the right area on the planet, I do believe that might make a difference too. But I asked a question because Doug had been drinking. He had went from distilled, understanding that there was no, when he was sick, that there was no minerals in that distilled water. So I asked the question, what about reverse osmosis water? Trying to get people to understand what that was. And um, so far, my question hasn't even been addressed. It's like, yeah, I have no clue why. Maybe because they think it's some hokey question that I just threw out there for the fun of it. But the reason for it, well, like I told Doug, another word for reverse osmosis water is reused water, you know. So in that case, I might want it to be distilled, but I wanted to know. I mean, this Matt isn't an expert on nutrition or anything, but he's looked a lot into it. I, however, did make the schedule for the year for the children in a high school for their nutrition and what they were going to eat. So I would sit down with the head cook and we would plan the meals according to the nutrition guides in the United States. So I did that, helped with that for almost 6 years. So, yeah, and I've been into nutrition all of my life. It's not nothing new. So I was a little put off that my question wasn't even looked at like anything serious because there's a lot of people out there drinking reverse osmosis water, which doesn't necessarily mean distilled. It just means it's been reused. Or if you have a raindrop, it goes into the lake and it goes back into a cloud and it comes back onto the ground as rain again. You know, that's osmosis. So, um, be interesting if they get to my question or not. But yeah, I don't know if I pissed Jason off with any questions or anything, but I also asked him uh, why they started changing the timeline as far as, and this is according to his research. He should have been able to answer this question perfectly clear and without me trying to insult anybody because I was curious to his answer to this question. Why did it used to be AD and then, or BC before Christ, and AD, and then sometimes you'd see BCE, before Christ era, and now you'll see CE, current era. That could fall in as far as trying to archive any kind of timeline or anything. That could be used anywhere. And that was what my point was, what I was trying to make. And sometimes I guess people think they're just too smart to collect information from other people. But that kind of brings me into something too. The people that collect information from other people but don't give the people like what the Flock TV, Paul, they'll take his information and they'll use it all over the internet, like his Janos research with the dual-headed man who is Enoch, or God's representation, or the two-sided coin, or the two-headed man. He's done a lot of research into that, and people have taken his information and used it all over the internet, never giving him any credit whatsoever. So, yeah. And I've had it happen too. You know, there's a lot of it. If some of you are listening to me, you know who you are. It's well and fine. I'll say something and it'll give you an idea. But you don't want to say where you got that idea because you might be like in your 40s or something. So why bring recognition to somebody that has worked for other people her whole life when you're just starting to give a shit? So that's how I feel on that. But that's not what this video is about. I have no clue really what it's about today. Um, just here spending time visiting with you is really all I'm doing. So, but it is sad when people really do not care about other people, but they say they do, or they only care about a certain age group, or they only care as far as what you can do for them, you know? Yeah, I'm kind of sick of that kind of treatment. I may, on my financial troubles may be as simple as uh, this one attorney we know. It might not be as bad as what I thought. I thought I had enough credits, and I just might. I just need to have somebody that's going to be able to work with the Social Security Administration and show them where they are lacking with my information, you know. So, yeah, it's like working drywall with my ex and stuff and whatever we had to pay in as a team and that type of thing. If you're married for 10 years, then those credits from your spouse can be used as yours. And we were working as a team, and I actually had my own job working for the state. So at the same time, so them credits for that year would actually be, or years would actually be double for like 5.5 years. So I'll just have to check all that out. I think what I'm going to have to do is sit down and write them a note and let them know, like, look, there's parts of my life where I was out working on ranches and my social security number was always given to these people, but there's times that I didn't make enough to have to file taxes, but it still isn't the issue. It's the credit point system, you know. So we'll see how all that works out. Wish me luck. So, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, even though people have information and they're sharing on a live stream, and live streams can be fun, if you have a serious question and you're being ignored, that could actually maybe enlighten somebody else on maybe something they're drinking that they don't want to drink, or looking into that. It doesn't make it very fun to. I won't recommend a live stream again from somebody that ignores me, because I think my question was like about probably second in line somewhere in there. So you probably want to know the answer if osmosis water is good for you, that you buy in the store as a bottled water, if that would be better for you than, say, like spring water or distilled water. From what I understand, just to let you know, the osmosis water was found to be maybe better in some circumstances, but it's not necessarily distilled, so you're still going to have the minerals in there. And if you're looking to exclude, like if you have a problem with kidney stones or something, or it's hereditary in your family, you might want to be careful of the minerals that you do put in your body and the ones that can cause kidney stones, like over excessive calcium deposits and that type of stuff. So, what I thought it was kind of important, but I guess they didn't seem to think so. So, yeah, like I say, I'm not going to be, if I'm going to finish listening to it, I think. But yeah, I'm not going to be sharing anybody's nothing. I guess they're way too big for the rest of us dummies out here, you know. Because I heard somebody say that it would be impossible to read 2,000 books in your lifetime. Well, you're looking at the possibility that did far more than that. And if you have like a 500-page book and you can read 100 pages in a day, what if you can read all 500 pages in a day? I used to go get a stack of books, 3, 4 at the most we could get, I think, was 5, but I'd usually get 3 books every other week, you know. And these weren't like paperbacks or anything like that. So, plus the library we had in our home and in the Masonic Lodge, and a very extensive library in the church I grew up in. And I was able to read ledgers and oracles that weren't privy to the public. I was actually locked in a library so the other people, other kids in my confirmation class, actually couldn't come in there while I was studying. So they locked me in there. And there was a bathroom, there was water, everything I needed. And there was a window if I needed to jump out of it or, something happened. But my pastor would give me so much time, and then he'd come back and see how I was doing and whatnot. Because nobody else was interested in learning all the religions in the world and making that decision as being confirmed in our church, making a solid decision in my faith. If that were the road that I decided to take. So that's what I did there. And if you don't know, I might have somebody new listening here. I was adopted by the Masons. It was not my choice. It was God's choice. I had to run away many times before I finally got away. Excuse me. And I got the dropsies today. And then I was able to go and get emancipated by the state and divorced them as an adult. So, because, yeah, it was pure hell. If it had just been my dad, it wasn't the nicest thing. This was somebody that even would try to punch me if he was pissed off or whatever. He wasn't a very nice person. But by the time I was 15, I could pretty much handle anything he tried to do. So, but his source of intelligence, that I learn a lot from both of them, actually. So, and that really is kind of the basis and the premise of most of my videos are about the narcissistic personalities of these people that are from the Canaanite or the Moabite bloodlines, the Frisians, the um the dark cabal. I'm out here telling people how to battle the dark cabal. That's what I do best. So I haven't had a choice, but yeah, I do it well, and none of them like me. So, yeah. I'm just thinking about my asparagus patch. I have asparagus and I have to get a tree out of there, or I have to move them in the spring. And then I have some flowers that were plowed into the woods that are from my grandfather's house when I was a little kid. And I hope they survive this some ignorant shit that happened because people are freaking ignorant of what could benefit. I mean, I raised little tiny asparagus seeds in the house for 2.5 years and put them outside, and now I have Martha Washington's as big around as a quarter, and they're tender. They're wonderful. I'm allergic to it, but they're still phenomenal. You know, daydreaming about springtime. It's about 40 degrees out, and it's supposed to be really nice for quite a while. And that's kind of good for Doug because the starter did go out on our tractor, and we just got one today. UPS showed up, and now it will be warm enough where he can put that on and do what he needs to do. So, yeah. And he did get his car unstuck. He used a winch and a tree um, the second time he got stuck here. So, I've got a diesel truck that sucks horrible amount of diesel if I were to use it to go back and forth to work. But there's somebody that's interested in buying my truck, and Doug had called and asked him if he could come and help out. But he doesn't want to pay for it. He wants to bring wood for it. And I just told him this morning, well, he had to ask his girlfriend. And they work together like good cop, bad cop when they're trying to make deals with people. And I said, well, you can just tell him you had to ask your wife. And she said, no, her truck's not for sale anymore. So, yeah, just stick that up here. Whatever, people, because they want something for free, you know. Like poor me, because their transmission's going out on her truck. It's her truck. He's using it to deliver wood. We met these people just by calling to buy wood. We didn't want anything except to purchase some wood. So we're not asking nobody for nothing for free, you know. So I told them, just remember back when all the vehicles we bought together, we didn't play that game with people, like we've got to ask. I mean, yes and no, if you know what I mean. You're either working together as a team or you're not, you know. So if they would have said yes and they would have came and helped Doug, is what I'm saying, then I would have still offered the truck for sale to them. But that's not going to happen at all now because I have to worry about myself. So it's probably best that it happened that way. I have a camper I can put in it too. So yeah, it's a dually. It's heavy duty 3/4 ton dually. So that would get out of here if I really needed to get out of here right now. Oh, and then he wrote a note to Doug like he felt like coming over and shoveling the truck out. It's like, why? You're not taking it anywhere. You don't need to shovel nothing, you know. So that just confirmed it even more when they wouldn't help him, but they want our help and they want us to let them make payments on it. So much cash and so much wood. I see shady times ahead in that type of deal because we've had problems with people before like that, trying to do that for them. It's like, no more. Nah. So, anyway. Yeah, I don't drive much, but I can drive. It's just, I have really no reason to because Doug goes to town just about every day anyway, so there's really no reason for me to have to do that when he's doing that anyway, you know. So, besides, I know he would rather go shopping than clean his own house. It doesn't happen often unless his cat throws up or something. I'm serious. I mean, it really isn't like a pigsty, that room in the other room. It's just that I had things piled up, kind of. And I think the cats got up there and they knocked like this one box over onto this. I had like the top of a very large garbage can, those round black garbage cans with the handles. Well, I had a top one of them with some plastic things for seedlings and them little shovels for planting stuff. And there was a couple of clay pots there, and I think like a pair of gloves, all gardening stuff. So this one box fell onto this pile of my gardening stuff and made a total mess. So, anyway, not that big of a mess, but irritating anyway because I don't really have anywhere to put it except for outside. So, that's what I'm going to have to do. But I didn't want to put it out there in case I have seedlings and if, or seeds in store for hard times. And I have dirt and different things that I need in case, say, like if there was an EMP crisis right now, I could start my seedlings and still have food for this summer and propagate them and save the seeds again. So like squashes, tomatoes, all kinds of like beans and radishes and lettuces and seeds for just about everything, just in case, you know. So that's why I left them in the house. So anyway, yeah. I don't know. I got so much on my mind, and then I've been sitting here writing a song in my head for a while. Not quite sure yet, but it seems like it's there. I don't know if you ever write like songs or poetry or make music or what, but sometimes some things kind of just hit you. And I've heard a lot of artists say that they like write it down the minute it hits, like the thought hits their brain. I'm a little different. I think of it on different levels, and then I think of not just how it's going to be perceived, but what am I trying to say within that? And if it's not quite the right message, then I'm not going to go with it, you know. So I'll have these ideas that I throw around. And I don't know, right now, I can probably whip it out like in a half a day anyway. But it just doesn't seem like the right day. But I think according to, like, if you follow your zodiac sign at all, and being that Saturn and Pluto are close, and Venus, that triad within that, and being in the age of Aquarius should give me an upper hand on my creativity. So, and then there's a little planet called Caring that is in alignment with Saturn, which brings them healing. So if you have like somebody in your life that's born the sign of Aries or the sign of Taurus right now, them two signs, they should be able to do a lot of healing right now, the way the planets are configured. So like within the next few months should be a time of healing for them. So I've got my fingers crossed big time, you know, because I'm close to, well, Doug's Aries, Taurus, Cus, and he's born on the same day as Hitler. I don't know if that would give you any insight to his forceful nature and the way he thinks about himself, but that might give you a little clue who I'm dealing with every day. Maybe not so funny, huh? Yeah. So, well, I think I'm going to leave this off on that and get it uploaded. Yesterday, my video took 3 hours to upload, but I think that had a lot to do with the we got probably 2 inches of snow, sleet and snow last night. So whenever it's cloudy out, the satellite dish is kind of funky. So yeah. Well, I appreciate you all being here. I hope some of what I said was interesting to you, and want you to have a wonderful night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Talk to you soon.